Hey everybody, this is Brad. Just putting together another video here, and today's video is on how to make a sugar cake board for winter feeding. Some people call it sugar candy, fondant, dry sugar feeding. I just call it sugar cake. This is the way I do it, and it works for me. There's lots of different ways of doing this, but I thought I'd put together one example just to show folks. So let's go through supplies that you need. Obviously you need some sugar. This right here is a 10-pound bag of sugar. You need a little bit of water. I just keep some water in an old pop bottle here for these projects. A 1 cup measure. Some newspapers. These are hard to come by these days, so it pays to stock up when you can. This is almost indispensable. This is a mortar mixer attached to my drill. And I use this for mixing up sugar syrup, the 1-to-1, the 2-to-1 syrup. I use this a ton for beekeeping, and they're well worth having. Just go to the hardware store, and anywhere they're selling the concrete products, you'll find this for mixing mortar. And then a 5-gallon bucket for mixing it up. And the one thing I use is I put together, this is my feeder right here. I just make these, they're about 2 inches tall, so you don't need them much taller. Same size as your hive bodies. I use 1/2-inch screen or wire mesh on the bottom here, and that's just, you can see I just kind of fold it up inside here and staple it. So you have this is going to hold the sugar underneath it, and we put a piece of newspaper on there that we pour the sugar on. You'll see it here in just a little bit. But it does take a little bit just to build these. I do put a hole right on the end here that serves as lets a little bit of ventilation for the very top of the hive. Okay. 2 things I really like using sugar cake boards for. The first is it provides a secondary food source for the bees throughout the winter. Usually it's going to be in late winter after they've run out of honey. The second thing is sugar is hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture from the air. So this helps to keep the humidity levels down in your hive, so you don't run into problems with ice collecting on the top of your hive and then melting back down onto the bees in the wintertime, which was very, very hard on bees and can kill them. So let's take a look at how we do this. First is you just take your sugar, dump the whole 10 pounds right into the bucket. And then I measure out 1 cup of water. And this doesn't have to be accurate. You can do more, you can do less. I just kind of ended up with 1 cup for 10 pounds. Seems to work well for me. Then you take your mortar mixer. Just stick it right down in there, and I'm going to have to stand up here for a second. But you just go ahead and run this with your drill. And it only takes just a little bit, get that water mixed into the sugar really well. So then we're going to set this to the side just for a second. Alright, so we're all done mixing up the sugar over here in the bucket. I've got my feeder tray here ready to go with the mesh in it. I switched angles here so you can see a little bit better what I'm actually doing. You take your piece of newspaper and you just press it down inside your feeder. And I like to leave the edges hanging out over the sides here a little bit. That keeps the sugar from spilling out while we're pouring it in. And then you take your 2 pieces of 2x4. I don't know if I mentioned these earlier. I just set one there. Where'd the other one go? There's the other one. I set one there. You can put them wherever you want. I like to put them near that exit hole, or that ventilation hole that I have on the feeders. Then you just take your sugar that's been mixed up and you just dump it right in, being careful not to spill. It seems like no matter how careful a person is, you end up with some sugar all over, but this works well if you're careful. So then, you gotta get your hands a little bit dirty. You just take this sugar and you press it down into your feeder. It doesn't have to be pressed down super hard. I like to make it kind of firm so that the sugar kind of forms one solid mass here. But especially right around these 2x4s, just press it in nice and firm right by them. The rest of that's pretty good. Pretty firm. Don't have to work yourself too hard on it. Then you just pull these pieces of 2x4 out, and you can see we've left a couple holes right there through the sugar. And that's where the bees will be able to get up through if they need to, but more importantly, the air will be able to come up through those holes, and anything that's going to condense or settle, the warm moist air will be up here on top. I'll leave this the way it is. I'll let it dry on a flat surface until tomorrow. This should be pretty rock hard by tomorrow. And then when it's hard, I'll peel off this excess newspaper and pull this out where the holes are right here. But other than that, it's ready to go. To deploy this on your hives, I just have a honey super here, but you put this on top of your brood box or whatever you're using for your overwintering. I like to take a little strip of wood, maybe a 1/4 inch thick. This one's a little thicker at 3/8 inch. But just something to place here to elevate the sugar so it doesn't flatten out completely against your top bars, and it gives the bees a place to actually be able to get back and forth between the bars. And when you go to do this on your hive, just put that board there, set this right on top, and of course this newspaper will be gone when you go to do this, and you're good to go. So hopefully this helps you get some sugar to your bees if you want to do that for the winter time, and good luck with your bees this winter.